Uduasha city, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow. 800 years ago, the gates of death were broken by the Emperor Immortal. The five key bearers, however, had already unlocked them and walked right through. It is in Uduasha city they dwell. Now, the ghost field breathes next to our reality, lit by the eternal flame of the well of Udu. It is a second skin, a place where thought and will struggle against gravity and light. In other places, the dead congregate in the ghost field, but in Uduasha, the well city, the hell city, they fall straight into the flames. See its glittering districts: Kshitijpur, where the rich plot to buy the horizon; Bunda West, where the refugees of two different nations flock; and Pasarhandu, the vertical maze of market and murder. And here is Udepat, where the ceaseless temple resides. Its inhabitants, a family, a snake, and a god. The temple has stood since before the gods of this world were forgotten. Watch as it turns the wheels of revolution. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about people who take risks so they can survive against the odds.
Welcome back to Desperate Attune. I'm Tree, as I suppose you may all know by now. And with me are Aadiyat.
Hello.
Prince.
Hi.
Zoheb.
Hey, what's up?
Jesus Christ. And Emma.
Yes, hello.
Wow, that was like the complete opposite energy. Amazing.
It's like following my Anta.
Yeah. Last we saw the crew, and brief aside, feel free to cut this, but I find last we left off really annoying only because I've heard Matthew Mercer say it over and over for like many years. When we previously saw the crew, they had been attacked by a Kethrisi leader of farmers, of refugees, also the person who ran the sword school of the Rising Moon, which was a competitor to the Falling Star, and they had attacked the temple, intending on crippling it, and in fact, as things started off, it was quite bad. But not only were they successfully driven off, in fact, for the first time in the temple's recent history, blood was spilled within the temple itself, with not just the leader himself, but also many of his compatriots falling. In the aftermath, I think we are now going to see an incredible amount of, or at least I am imagining an incredible amount of self-reflection, but maybe not. Maybe everybody's just going to be like, this is fine. And I think I'd like to start with Joan, because we saw Joan go to find her friend, Madison Frake.
It's my good and very trustworthy friend, Madison Frake.
Who has no ulterior motives or intentions whatsoever.
They go way back. At least 3 sessions.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed. Also, Zoheb, remind me, is Madison they, them? I think I remember them as they, them.
Up to you. I thought it was a she, her, but whatever.
Oh, okay, that's fine. No, it's just like, it's been a while since I've been Madison, so
Yeah.
I just forgot. But it's
We
fine.
didn't do any downtime last session at all, right? We just
No, we didn't at
set
all.
some things
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It may well have
Um,
been that you decided to make them they them, so I don't remember.
You're the GM. Use your power over gender.
Okay, you know what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna use both, and then we can just say that Madison had some feelings, and if it turns out I'm wrong, Madison will have had some more feelings, and it's fine. This is how I feel all the time anyway, so whatever.
Yeah.
Madison's gender is cannibal. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that we see the temple of the hungry one, the one that hungers, the empty vessel. And the empty vessel is, of course, what it's called in Akros. And I think that we know that there is kind of like an Akarosi, like a temple inside this temple, right? That hews to its own traditions and so on, views hunger as something somewhat different. And Madison is the one who's been kind of like guiding you through your journey, Joan. Have you shown her the bee?
I don't think I have.
Okay.
I think, well, actually, we didn't establish it last time. Let me think. Because the bees are like a completely different thing, right? From
Absolutely, yeah.
identity.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
it
I was
might
just curious.
I think
yeah.
I have it with me, so she might notice it. But I don't think Joan has a reason to like be like, oh yes, I have a bee now.
Okay. In that case, I will just keep this in mind. But I think Madison says, you have the look of someone who's seen death very recently. Something you want to share?
Well, we were attacked, the temple, and we fought back, and I may have tasted one or two of them.
And you say this, and I think Madison, I don't even think that like Madison smiles. I think it's more like they let out a long sigh and they say, oh, I'm so glad I wasn't wrong about you. Excellent. Amazing.
What do you
Well
mean?
done. Oh, merely that, some people who come visit us just end up never returning. And even when they do return, don't feel great. But Joan, when we first met, we had a connection, and now, well, I think the hunger is in you as it is in me. Come. And then I think they lead you towards, again, this there's like a canvas tent type structure is what I'm imagining. What in India we would call a shamiana, kind of erected where the kind of the empty vessel disciples are kind of hanging out. And like the last time, you see, people going through their own rituals of hunger, watching something ripen, or like gorging themselves, but in like very odd and specific ways. And she kind of like looks around at them and then looks back at you and says, so, feel any different here now?
Am I supposed to?
Oh no, you tell me. Some people after the first taste change, really quite completely. And then some of them are like, well, it's fine. This is who I've always been, and how I've always been. So, and then like kind of like looks at you and says, I guess you've seen a lot, so maybe this isn't like really new for you.
I feel vertigo. Like when you're about to get close to an edge, or like a dangerous insect, venomous. The feeling that you're about to go somewhere dangerous.
And I think she says, back in Duskwall, there is, I have a friend who runs, he runs a gang. He's like also an empty vessel disciple, but he's got his own practice. And something that he does, which I always found amazing, was that he climbs these very tall towers and then falls off. And he's secured only with a rope. And he just falls. And when I asked him about it, he said exactly what you're saying. Sometimes you want to look at that edge, know you're about to do something very dangerous, and then think to yourself, that's why I'm doing it.
And do I have a rope?
I think she is presumptuous enough to do this. I think she will reach out and take your hand and say, you feel that? That's a rope?
Okay.
And I think she says, so the first thing you need to understand about hunger is, and I think like she's gonna like start lecturing you, but like in a very like happy and jovial kind of way, right? Like you've made friends, you've trusted them with something quite vulnerable and close to you, and I think they're taking that trust like seriously. But you're not the first person that she's kind of guided through this process, even, right? So I don't necessarily think we need to hear what she tells you about the first thing about hunger and so on. And she did already like describe that to you earlier when you first met her. But I think this is more like you're having this conversation, you're hanging out, and I feel like you're rolling indulge vice here. So like this, I guess like we can see what the indulgence looks like. But do you have any stress you want to relieve?
I do.
Great. Okay. So then I think this is a great time to.
Let's make the roll. Double sixes.
Oh wow! You don't get anything for critting on.
No.
I think we
indulgent
should
vice,
house
but I
rule
think
it. Yeah, common
Yeah.
house rule is just clear all stress, which is 6 stress
Yeah.
in this case. It still doesn't do anything, but
Yeah. I think in this case, actually, I will give you something, which is that I think Madison, as they are talking to you about hunger, introduces you to someone else, and let's find something out about this person. So, okay, Aadiyat, tell me something about like this person that Madison is introducing Joan to. Like, what kind of person are they? Like, where are they from?
Is it someone on your contact list?
Oh, it could be. Ooh.
You couldn't,
Oh man, that would be amazing.
wouldn't we? I'm not sure who it could be though. I have like the only people on my contact list that I have.
You have an infernalist on your contact list, Abbas.
I know, but these are people that I have not like actually brought into play. So,
No, no.
Okay,
They
fair.
can. Well, they can come into play now.
well, why not? Let's go with. What do you want the Infernalist to come into play now?
It's up to you. And I mean, you don't have. You can make someone up, but I just feel like an infernalist is such a great like opportunity. But you also have an explorer,
I do.
which is also a great opportunity. You have an
Yes.
art dealer, incredible.
I don't know why I haven't like actually brought any of these people into play yet. Like, I guess
So this could be a good time.
Yeah, this could be a good time actually. Yeah, let's bring in the Infernalist because I love the word Infernalist.
Yes, it's such a good word. Yeah, Bilal Mat. Yeah.
That's a great name as well.
Yeah. What does Bilal Bhai look like?
We love how the Infernalist. My immediate thought was a guy who's got a magnificent mustache and is like bald and like clean shaven otherwise.
Nice.
Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Like a waxed mustache, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
A wax mustache.
Oh no. It is waxed. It is not made of wax. Because I know if it is made of wax, what will happen is at some point someone will try and eat it. If they don't
He's
want.
also an Infernalist. I don't think he holds onto his wax mustache.
No. See,
Very well.
it's like this. It's got wicks inside, and he like lights it on fire.
Oh my fucking.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's say that it is Schrodinger's mustache for now, and whether it is merely waxed or made of wax, we can find out.
but he definitely lights his mustache on fire.
It's so heavily waxed that the actual hair, it's like a wick inside, surrounded by wax.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Prince, what is an infernalist?
oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, I think everybody should have a go.
Okay, Aadiyat, did you have anything in mind, or are you giving me free reins here? Just it's your contact.
Yeah.
Two thoughts that I had were one was like just a fire breather, like, but I don't know. The Infernalist should be something else. Like, the other thing I thought of was this is actually maybe some kind of like demonology kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Like,
Mhm.
I have an answer, I think, but I just want to check so that I don't contradict what you had in mind.
But I
think
think one
once-
thing I'll point out is that we have established that near the Udu, like the district itself, there's all sorts of like occultists and like sorcerers
Yeah.
and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's what I
I
was
think
thinking.
straightforwardly, just what an infernalist is it's a fire worshipper, and like a lot of people have holy fire. Our cult has holy fire. Abbas has holy fire, but an infernalist really worships the actual fire. It's not like
yeah.
a symbol for anything. It's not. It is about trying to commune with the Udu itself, and like these are the kind of people who go way, way closer to it than you should. So in fact, the wax is probably mostly fireproofing his mustache, or it would be burning off.
Incredible.
These people are slightly nuts and think, whether rightly or wrongly, that they can speak to the flame in the well.
This guy's.
I mean, you
not
can
giving
always talk to the flame. Like you can just
Yeah.
go, hello.
Yes, yes, but you know,
Maybe
these,
They
these
think it speaks back.
the fire speaks back, and in fact, yeah, they claim to speak the tongue of flame itself. It's some sort of obscure Enochian type language
Mm.
that you can use to communicate with fire, just as a thing.
I think we could
Excellent.
also bring some of the demonology thing in here as well, because he could be trying to like bring the fire into himself. Like maybe it doesn't make sense to outsiders what exactly that entails, but that's like one of the things that he's trying to do is heal.
Yes,
Bring the flame of the Udu into himself. Like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Okay. I actually have a wild idea here, so feel free to veto me. But I'm going to ask Zoheb this. Zoheb, what would it be like if an infernalist was to try and replace their soul with holy fire?
The infernalists believe that in fact inside everyone's heart there is unholy fire, and
Oh.
thus everyone is in fact a sort of like pale reflection of what true living should be, which is only
Mm.
the abode of demons. So in a way, to have your soul replaced by holy fire is the ultimate desire, but also the ultimate blasphemy.
Right. Yes. Excellent. Okay.
I enjoy
Um,
how this parallels like the concept of hollows.
Yes, that is
You're
actually
right,
kind
yeah.
of where I was thinking, like bringing this was that like there is a sense of like, okay, the soul may not be like perfect or whatever, but like, yeah, that's kind of what inspired me.
Or maybe it's just Dark
Um,
Souls, you know? We have the
yeah.
Dark Soul.
This is
Oh,
this
no.
is basically Solaire of Astora now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I should mention for listeners not familiar with the setting that in the base setting, the state religion believes that the perfect form of a person is a form without their soul and only their body. And lastly, Emma, why is Bilal Mart here?
He is here because I think if you want to replace your soul with holy fire, first the soul needs to go out. And there is only one God who knows how to do that.
So he's not just potentially a blasphemer, he's an interdisciplinary blasphemer.
Of course, the best occultists are.
Yes, absolutely. Not one path to God, all paths to God. Or in his case, fire, but you know, what's the difference? Yeah, so I think what happens here is Madison introduces you to Bilal, and I actually think Bilal doesn't recognize you by face, but will recognize like your robes. Because obviously he knows Abbas, and he's very familiar with the temple and their friends. So as soon as he spots you, he will say, a devotee of the, and then leans in, a devotee of the ceaseless temple here? What a surprise. What would Abbas say?
You know Abbas?
Abbas is a dear, dear friend. We have rousing theological discussions. He has his beliefs, I have my beliefs, of course. I believe mine are correct, and he believes his are correct. You know, I should really look him up. We haven't met each other in... How long would you say it's been, Abbas?
Ooh, I don't think too long. Maybe mm,
Maybe
few
15
months,
years.
15 years.
Well, not too
Yeah,
long.
not too long.
Not too
Just
long.
15 years.
I would have said maybe like several months up to a year, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
I think let's say like a year. Let's say like, because for the last year or so, you've been like very involved with the temple and so on. So,
Yeah.
so I think he says, yes, it's been a year. Really unacceptable. Madison, have you been to the temple? Truly a marvel of theology. And then Madison kind of just shrugs and says, all I need is here. Don't really know why you would need to go anywhere else. And it's like not right. Like it's not even like they don't. They're fine with like going to other places. It's just like Bilal turning up and being like, oh, haha, which she doesn't like.
Madison tells me you're. Well, actually, you've not told me much at all.
Bilal Bhai is he's an infernalist of the old and heretical stripe, and everybody in this town is old and heretical, but Bilal Bhai, you really take it too far. And Bilal just kind of shrugs us to be like, what can you do?
I see. She seems somewhat taken aback by like, hey, this extremely heretical person. You should definitely meet them.
I think seeing your like uncertainty, Madison will say, no. The reason that I thought you and Bilal should meet, and I didn't know that you might have common friends, is Bilal Bhai is also very interested in transformation. Becoming somebody new, trying to see how one's relationship with divinity makes you different. And it seemed to me that you might want another perspective on this because, well, I don't want you to follow only in my footsteps.
Yes, that's. I suppose that makes sense. So, what sort of transformation are you interested in?
And I think Bilal, he rolled a crit, so he's going to tell you, but he just like raises his eyebrows and he says, now, Abbas will be very unhappy if I tell you this, which is why I'm going to. You see, he thinks that the soul is divine, but I think we all know the soul is a dark reflection of what we truly are. And I seek to replace it. My own, everybody else's. The holy fire that burns in the Udu has spoken to me, and I know all I need do is excise myself of this growth that my body has developed. Replace it with something better, more bright, everlasting.
And you will still be you?
No, of course not. I will be much better than I. I am now still suffering with this poison inside me that I cannot remove. Once it is gone, I will be perfect. I will be the version of myself that I was always intended to be.
The soul, it's. I've seen this. It's all what remains behind when all the rest is gone. It's the last bit of recollection, of recognition, of the last bit that sees the well.
Oh, no. Those are... Yes, I know of whom you speak. Those who would give of themselves, body and soul, to the fire, leave nothing but a pair of eyes, yes? To see the flames? No, they misunderstand. You cannot divest yourself so completely that nothing remains. This is like cutting out your entire arm merely because a cancer grows on it. No, seek the doctor, the healer, who will cure you completely, but leave you, nevertheless, intact. This is why I am here. The empty vessel, of course, knows much about emptying exactly what needs to be emptied and leaving the vessel. Perfect.
I suppose that doesn't sound so bad. She smiles a little bit.
And she said, and I think Bilal says, I will come to the temple. It's time that Abbas and I had another conversation, and it's always lovely to meet a new friend. And do not be so afraid of transformation. It is the only way one can grow, one can change. And I don't even think that he realizes he's doing it, but I think unconsciously, like, he's falling into the pattern that he falls into when he talks to Abbas, which is that he realizes that like growth and change are very much the tenets of the temple. So he's like unconsciously using that pattern on you as well.
And it's working.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like, I don't know if there's anything more to see here, but I think Madison has like stepped back and allowed you to have this conversation because I think they're a bit manipulative, right? Like they want to expose you to someone very extreme so that they seem more reasonable by comparison. And they're kind of annoyed that you already know Bilal and apparently other stuff is going to happen. But at the same time, you have to roll with the punches. So she's not going to be like, oh, damn, I fucked up. I can't retrieve this.
All right. Yeah, I think they just vibe for some time probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people are passing a joint around. I don't know if Joan partakes, but you know,
Of course.
that's some alcohol, and yeah, it's a nice time to be honest. You know, like they know how to hang out.
I'll tell you what happens afterwards, though. As soon as Joan emerges, blinking into the sunset light, as the giant mirror gets taken away. As soon as Joan emerges out into the darkness of Golampit, you suddenly see Miraz emerging from a street, and he kind of like grabs you by the arm and says, "Joan, I've been looking all over for you. What are you doing here?" He kind of looks at the building, and he looks like he should recognize it, but then he doesn't. It's like, oh, you know, despite being one of the major landmarks in Uduasha, etc., he has no idea what this place is and doesn't make any connections. Like, oh, are you hungry? Have you eaten?
A little bit, she says, thinking back to like the probably fairly lavish feast that just passed.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. You should come to dinner with me. Come. No excuses. It's entirely on me. Come, we're going to have the best kebabs in Golampit. Come, and I'm going to take her to the Playful Turtle. Because what's been on Miraz's mind since watching whatever the fuck it was that Joan had done last session, with the eating and I don't know. Listen, Joan hasn't been eating enough. She needs some kebabs.
I just want to interject here. So the shrine builder also has no reaction to the temple, or is it just that like that part of you doesn't surface in this moment?
Good question. How about let's make a quick Attune fortune roll. Okay, I think deep inside me, as I look at this building, I feel a sort of like I'm holding Joan by the shoulder. I'm like kind of trying to steer her, but then suddenly I kind of like give a lurch and kind of like have to lean on Joan instead, as I have a very strong splitting headache, which I cannot identify its source of at all. But this has been happening to me since like I've recovered. Like every now and then I look at something and suddenly I feel like woozy and all that, and like it's clearly annoying. No idea what's going on. I'll have to talk to Amitav about this afterwards. But all I do is I look at Joan and say, "Oh yes, sorry about that. Just don't tell Vickers, okay? She'll be word sick. It's nothing. Haven't fully recovered."
No, same. It can be jarring, these sorts of things.
Yes. Well. All
this
right.
much violence.
Let's put it all behind us. We're going to have a lovely evening, just cousin to cousin. We're going to have some very good kebabs, and I'm going to introduce you to a very good friend of mine, Fauzi Ansarik.
Well, that sounds funny.
Yes. And
have I heard of this person before?
No, I don't
just-
think Miraz talks that much about his social life,
Mhm.
or talks that much in general. So no, you probably haven't, unless Vickers has mentioned her.
I don't think so.
Yeah, then I think I think Miraz is one of those people I have a friend like this who will talk about her friends as though I know who they are.
Mm.
Like just mentions
Yes.
like people that she knows as though everyone knows who they are. It's like, yes, I'm going to. Oh yes, we're going to have kebabs with Fawzia, and there's going to be a few other people there. I think possibly it's going to be a lovely time, and I'm sure they'll be fascinated to hear from to encounter a real life railjack. You'll have all sorts of stories to share, and I will not tell. I will not tell Joan that this is in fact also a sauna.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I
All
forgot-
right, I
I
forgot
also
about the
forgot about
horrible kebab saunas. Worst idea you've ever had. Yes.
I was just like searching for it in our Discord, and I was like, wait, there was something about this, and then you said it, and I was like, oh.
Mhm.
Oh.
It's the Playful Turtle. It's an Uduasha institution. It's a
Mm.
sauna. It's the best sauna, and it's got the best kebabs at the same time.
Great. Fantastic. Truly amazing. What can
Yes,
I
that,
possibly
that
say?
traditional kebab smell that everyone loves, indeed.
Yes, yes.
In the sauna. Yeah.
These guys are having
So we must
soggy
wait and
naan and
see.
kebabs.
Let us may not volunteer the information, but Jen will absolutely ask, like, is there a place we can freshen up before? Because, well, and then she like shows her hands and like still some blood spatters around her face, and
Yes, of course. No, of course you can't go into a sauna without washing up. Ha 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 ha. No, have you never been to a sauna? Please go in there. And all that. And I gesture towards something.
wait,
Luck.
what?
Yes, go in there. It's perfectly
Okay.
fine.
Yeah,
There's signs that explain everything.
The
excellent.
signs are all in Hadrathi, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
Because they have only just relaxed their Iruvians only policy, but that has not extended to changing the decor quite yet.
This
So-
is part of the reason why Vickers is not allowed here.
I think you should
Yeah.
all be. I think you should all be glad that I did not make it a naturist sauna.
You're gonna be more glad in a sec when it turns out that Hadil Subramanian is here, as promised all of that time ago when he was like, yes, I should hang out more with the Foundation.
Okay, now in my picture, I'm imagining Hardil Subramanian like sitting down naked, but he has the briefcase on his lap.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh dear. Oh god. Anyway, so now we're going to be inside the sauna. There's going to be kebab roasting on the grill, on the coals that all the steams and so on is coming out of. And yeah, I'm going to just bring you in. How do you react to this very strange scene of being in a sauna where where people are just having kebabs and talking about Sparkcraft related development in architecture and asking you for your opinion about the train lines and so on. So this is very normal.
Yeah, I think it's best described as attempted stoicism. I think she's like making conversation, but like only the minimal amount and very haltingly. Yes, the train lines. Yes, it's been a while. I'm not sure I'm the most qualified. I just ride along them. Well, not anymore, you see, etc.
No. Don't. Fawzia, tell her. Don't. Joan is doing that very awful thing that you sometimes see where people are speaking to academics and engineers and so forth. The actual practitioners of the trade, the people who have the most lived experience, they downplay it in front of us, and it's them who really know how things work, don't they? Tell her, Fawzia.
And I think that Fawzia is currently, I think she's actually feeling quite good. She's feeling quite excited. So I think she looks at Joan and says, "Well, Joan, have you ever been to the Imperial City?"
It's a good question. Well, actually, probably. I've seen the station, she'll say.
You've seen the station. I'm like, it should have occurred to me that Joan, who has been all over the Empire, has probably been at the Imperial City. But, well, if things occurred to Miraz, he'd be a very different person.
Yes.
But he's looking at you with new awe and respect and waiting for you to tell us all about the station.
You have seen the station. Truly a magnificent, a thing of beauty and great power, yes? the kind of the way that as the train pulls in, the massive, majestic statue of the emperor looms above the citizens, his regal leonine mask showing us that we will all be safe under his presence. Something
Is it true that the trains go up a waterfall when they exit the station?
Oh, yes. Our favorite bit.
How do they do it? Was it with magnets?
I don't know. I'm not an engineer.
must be
and I
with
think
Vertically.
Fozia says, oh, no. It is, in fact, a complicated system of gears and steam-powered sparkcraft. And the way that it works is, and then like she will like go into about 7 to 9 minutes of like very complicated engineering that Miraz, you completely understand, but like Joan, you do not. And I do not, so I'm not going to actually say it. But like she will like explain this in great detail because she wants you to understand like how amazing this is. And then at the end, no, go on.
I was going to say, but uncharacteristically for Miraz is going to make a genuine extra effort to try to explain what Fozzie is saying to Joan. He really wants to include Joan in all of this.
Okay, cool.
Whether or not he succeeds at explaining is another thing. He probably doesn't.
Roll study as a fortune, I guess.
We'll see.
Sorry, Emma, you were saying?
No, I'm awaiting the roll.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't have to be study. It could be consort also, but yeah.
That's
a
right.
1, a 3, and a 5. So that's 5.
Yeah.
Hey, some of it does make sense to you. Maybe the stuff that like has to do with how it also uses like the energy that it gets from the ghosts that the railjacks end up like destroying or bottling and so on. Like maybe you didn't know that that's what happened to some of the like ectoplasm and spirit energy that like you stored in the machine, but like that is also part of it. And like Fozzie is like really like going deep into detail, and then Miraz, you keep having to like stop her and be like, no, wait, let me break some of this down for you so you can like understand what's going on.
In fact, at one point, so I'm actually going to roll for my vice here because, well, this is my vice intelligence.
Yeah.
So let's do that first.
If Joan wants to help, she can take a stress to help you, but like help on vice indulgence is a double-edged sword. So.
Well, you're indulging in my presence now, so you can't overindulge.
Yeah.
Oh yes, correct.
And I'll take the stress. Yes, I'll assist.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. It's very kind. Okay,
Ooh.
that's 6.
Yeah, okay.
6, 2, 5. Very good. Yeah.
mhm.
So apparently this is great.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why it's great because so while Fozzie is explaining about steam and like complex, I guess, theories about electricity and so on, and I wish that I was a better student of physics to be able to give a bit more color to the sort of things she's saying, but I am not. But what Miraz is doing is that he's disagreeing with her, and he's talking about how much better it would be if it were like all magnets. And then he's like turning to Joan, and he's like asking her, because he says, but I know that magnets are a very important part of railjack technology. Like, don't you have the boots that are magnetized and so on? Like, you have the lines and so on. Like, the electroplasmic barriers on the outside of the cars to prevent the ghosts from latching in. That provides a steady source of electricity that you can use for the magnetization. Yes, and I can understand that maybe having such things around a waterfall might be a little bit unsafe, but I'm sure we can figure out the safety mechanism. Joan, don't you think magnets would be better?
Yeah, we have used. We do use insulation coverings for when we are going through particularly stormy stretches of rail. It could work. There could be a way to adapt that. It's a little bit more water, and I think what's happening is that she's like all her instincts are just to like focus and think about how or what's self-evident for her to do in this moment is to think about how the central station or the imperial station is really bad, and it's like it's so busy and overwrought and annoying, But she sees how much effort Miraz is making to kind of include her in all this technical talk, and she'll like try and kind of like push herself to be part of the conversation actively.
And Miraz is also like keeps on giving you more and more kebabs. Like, oh, because you must listen. I didn't want to say it, and well, I can say it in front of Fawzia. She's a very good friend. The very last word in discretion, and as are all the other brothers here, whose names I definitely know. Doesn't matter. Anyway, listen. I'm a little worried about you. I rarely see you eat anything. Maybe it has to do with Vickers' cooking. I fully understand.
Oh
I
my god!
listen, don't tell her,
What?
of course, but I fully understand. But if that's the problem, then listen.
It's
The
not.
kebabs here are
No, Miraz, listen. It's these kebabs are no different.
these kebabs are no different from Vickers' cooking.
Not for
I-
me. It's the. I'm dealing with some stuff. I've asked, and now I've out of character forgot the Rakshasa's name.
Daddy Danda.
Ah yes, of course. How could I forget? I've asked Daddy Danda about it.
Who?
And oh, he's the local Rakshasa near a temple. He
Mhm.
comes by. He was there, right?
Yes,
I
he
think-
was actually.
Yeah, but I don't pay attention to that sort of thing. And Fuzzy and I are exchanging glances of like, okay, he's talking to a Rakshasa. Okay.
Anyway, he said that this is an issue that crops up sometimes, and he gave me some pointers to deal with it. I'm sure
I-
it'll be fine.
Right. Well, oh, of course I understand. Oh dear. Is it some sort of Deathlands related infection or something?
I don't really know what it is. It could be related though. I've
Hmm.
also. Do you remember when Padmamukhi and Padmapriya were talking about changing themselves? Were you there? Did that reach you?
And I think Miraz tries to remember this, and I don't, out of character, I don't remember if Miraz was there or if no, actually I don't think
I think
Miraz was there.
No, Miraz wasn't there. It was Freya.
But
Yeah.
even if he had been there, I don't think he would have paid attention. So yeah, so he just says, "Oh yes, Padmamukhi. What was it? Yes, they both bought new saris recently.
Well,
Right?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that's absolutely what it was.
I don't know. They were doing some sort of ancient practice or ritual or whatever to become closer to the god, to become more like the servant.
Oh, for fuck's sake! I fucking hate this city. Like every time, why can't anyone have a nice conversation about the future, about science and magnets? Instead, people trying to turn themselves into snakes. People with Deathlands tapeworms talking to people who I don't know eat trash for a living. Listen, Joan, I understand. Like I don't want to. I don't understand your condition. It's true. And seems neither do you. But
Oh
please
my
try.
god! Wow.
I mean, that's true. She doesn't.
It's true.
Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Listen, I'm just saying that okay, the Rakshasas, they know something, but it's the sort of thing that's like, it's just superstition and so on, and eventually they manage to figure out some sorts of things that work, but they ascribe always the wrong causality and like the wrong mechanism. It's not scientific thinking, and I beseech you, it's always your decision at the end, but I beseech you, as former servant of the empire and so on, to look for a more scientific and rational reason for whatever it is that's going on. And I feel that, well, even if this tastes to you the same as my lovely wife's cooking, and I look at the kebabs with like, oh my god, this is the best kebab in the world, how can you even compare? Like, it's ridiculous.
I mean,
As it like beads with water vapor. I
it
think
does happen in the real life Sona kebabs as well, right?
yes.
Okay, just
Yes.
confirming.
Oh no, not really. I mean, I believe in Finland they do actually roast. They do like grill sausages on the sauna coals and so on. I don't know. I don't know
see.
if they have. I don't know if they do it at the same time that they're actually inside saunaing.
You'd think that they become
Okay.
soggy after a while because you keep throwing water on it.
Yeah, I have done my share of sawing, and I would not do that. But
Yes.
I'm not Finnish, so
Yes,
The best soggy kebabs in all of Russia.
we can. You know, none of us are Finnish. We can make up whatever we want about the Finnish culture.
Yes, that's
Uh,
how it works.
they
Because
can-
as we know, culture is finished. Ha ha.
Boo.
Sorry, please go on.
I'm just going to log out right now. I'm not going to be part of this anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So I think Miraz is just like going to encourage Joan to, you know, look into more scientific means and so on. And like, you know, if you're hungry, then you have to eat. Like even if it doesn't feel good. Like this is still like good eating. Maybe it's not
Mhm.
to your taste the best, but it's still better than eating. What was it that it's? Did you ate a person, right?
Yes,
Yes. Well.
yes, that's what it was.
Uh-huh. Well. What? I think Miraz has just blocked it out of his mind. What exactly he saw. And then he says, and as you know, my own father isn't doing very well, and I'm
Mhm.
encouraging him all the time to seek proper imperial medical attention. Of course, it's expensive. We're working on it, and listen, just when you're talking to the Rakshasas and doing what the other things that you're doing and so on, remember that you can also talk to, you know, me. I'm your cousin, and I think Miraz is just very concerned about what's going on with Joan, and he has no actual means of dealing with it beyond like trying to include her and trying to be a good influence in her life.
But that's
He's
cute.
just kind of
Yeah.
floundering a little bit.
She'll say, I appreciate that. I really do. And well, if you know anybody who might know about, and she just gestures at herself, then you know, I tried. It's just
Well,
when I was
Mhm.
when I rode the trains, I think I learned that imperial science is all very good and true and rigorous and effective inside the empire, inside the walls, inside the lightning barriers. But empirical study, it's not the most true out there. And that might extend to other parts of life too. I think. I don't know.
And Miraz kind of like sits back thinking about this for a moment. You know, it obviously is contradictory to his worldview, but he's not going to tell you you're full of shit. I don't know what Fuzzy has to
Which
say
is, I
about this.
think, yeah, but I also think it is a big character moment for Miraz not to tell you you're full of shit. Because he would happily do that for 99% of people.
Yeah, but also like 99% of people, he hasn't seen them eat someone.
You are not wrong. He hasn't. And that is quite, yeah, you know, you got me there.
But does Fozia have anything to say?
Yeah, I think Fozia is listening to this and says, I think this is not a conversation she's unfamiliar with. And I think she says, now look, I'm not saying that I disagree with you, Joan. And I do think that, of course, science is an ever-changing, ever-growing study, and not everyone gets it right all the time. But I do think that at the end of the day, if there is something that cannot be explained, it is so important to ask for help. It is so important to consult those around us, our family and our friends. And it seems to me that what Miraz is truly seeking is an answer to many of these problems that we all face in the modern empire. And it seems to me that you are seeking that as well. And I think that actually she has also connected with you in some way. So she's like, yeah, I mean, we're all here for you. You can talk to me if you like. And it's so important, like, we take mental health seriously, etc. I do want to make clear here that cannibalism is not a mental health issue. It's I mean, well,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
cannibalism is very different.
I'm not even gonna go there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
I'm not ready for the cannibal
the
adjacent
cannibals.
on
yeah.
Twitter to correct us.
Is that the scene, or do you have more to do?
I think not necessarily a scene, but I think also now that Miraz has kind of like leaned back and has like decided not to necessarily intervene as much, he's thinking about the conversation with the conversation about the train.
Mhm.
And I think I'm going to start working on a clock to design a new kind of shoe,
Okay.
magnetic shoes.
Ooh. Okay.
Lovely.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Yes.
Wow.
That's a 6.
Yeah. So you rolled 4 dice on your study and you rolled a 6, which is 3 ticks on this clock. Now, I feel like, let's say it's a 6 clock. And the reason that I think that it is a 6 clock is that it is complicated, but it is not like beyond your capabilities, right?
Mhm.
And it's something and like you have a workshop. So you can absolutely do this. But
In
like,
fact, let me
Mhm.
jazz it up a little bit.
Okay.
These are going to be maglev shoes. But instead of just magnets that let you levitate an object, it's going to be magnets that help you stick to an object, and it's also going to be full of drift oil.
Oh, okay.
So
I
I can
mean,
I
does
can both
this
stick to an object and also kind of like, I don't know, float above them if necessary.
okay?
That
So
makes sense.
what tier of item is drift oil? Is it tier 4?
Possible. I mean, I have drift oil. I guess the trick is to figure out how to make it work in the way I want it to make
Yeah.
it work.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that I'm asking about the tier is I'm wondering how complicated a thing is it to work with, right? I think it's tier 4. I think it's tier 3. I don't have the PDF
I am
on
looking
this
it up
computer.
right now. Oh yeah, it's tier 3.
Right. Okay, so then let's say it's an 8 clock.
Sure.
But at the end of the 8 clock, what you will have is a pair of boots that will, A, on command, stick to any magnetic surface without being like so heavy that you can't walk in them. But also, B, on command, help you float in the air somewhat. Like, I don't think like you'll be able to fly.
No,
Not
not
but
yet.
like you'll get like, yeah, not yet at least. You do, by the way, have a prototype robe hang glider. So maybe that plus this,
Hmm. Yeah.
anything
the
is
way-
possible.
Yeah, I'm going to put this as part of my protective suit. It is my new goal in life by the end of this campaign to turn Miraz's protective suit into an Iron Man suit.
Hmm.
We shall see.
Fantastic.
yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Okay, great.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. Maglev boots for the protective suit. Okay.
Miraz Iron Man Chakraborty. Looking forward to the Marvel Twitter stands also canceling us.
Uh-huh.
So for some reason, I don't know why they would, but I feel like
Yeah,
they
no,
would.
Yeah.
don't even
Yeah.
talk about the Marvel cannibals. That tiny but influential group.
I mean, the way they come for you, they really, I mean,
Oh god. Okay. So Miraz switches almost like seamlessly from like full attention to Joan, making sure she is like having a good time, trying to find out about her medical problems, to like completely ignoring her, just thinking about magnetic boots now.
well, I think what we do see, and I don't think like, you talk to him, but like, Hardal is here.
Oh yes.
And like, I just want to like flag this mostly because I want to flag that like he's paying attention to this, but he's also very carefully not intruding, right? He's like, oh, you want to have a conversation? You go do that. And I am paying very close attention to everything because it's useful to know this stuff.
In fact, I may have a conversation with him afterwards, and it might actually be a continuation of the scene, but
Okay.
I'm happy for
Let's
the
do
spot.
something and come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
I think
So,
for now, assuming that this is like a house of knowledge and science, I think Joan is going to see if they have any like medical facilities to bandage your hands with, because those are still slashed to ribbons.
Well, it's a spa
Yes.
and a restaurant.
They will have a first aid kit, but I don't think they will
Yes.
have anything more than that. But on the other
Yeah.
hand, the foundation is literally a secret society, so maybe they have a really good first aid kit.
No,
Yeah.
and like I imagine this would be, if any place would be the
Mhm.
spa that would have a first aid kit, this would be
Yes.
the place.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, they
Right.
definitely have a first aid kit.
Yeah, okay. In fact, I think it would be correct to, in this case, roll the foundation's healer. Or like that tier as the healer. So I will just look up the tier and you can roll that many dice.
Hmm.
Foundation is tier 1. Oh, you get one
What?
die.
They're very influential in Doskvol, but not here, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, the fact that they are tier 1 here is mostly because they brought money with them from Duskwall. And, like, to be clear, in my mind, the Foundation isn't just influential in Duskwall, it's influential in all, like, throughout Akaros, which is the Imperial Center, throughout Severos, is just like in Iruvia, that they're only now, like, building a foothold. And maybe there's, like, tier 1 headquarters, not just in Uduasha, but in other Iruvian cities as well, right? Like this is not just
Yeah.
a single pronged, but like we're not there, we're in Uduasha, so that's what we're seeing.
Mhm.
Remind me how healing works in this campaign.
Normal.
It's just rules as written. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
unfortunately.
2 ticks on your healing clock.
2 ticks on my
Yeah.
healing clock. I think I'll spend a coin to just like buy some of their
Yeah, finish it.
supplies and finish it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I can do aftercare.
I think in this case, the coin is actually paying the doctor, the standby doctor, because normally they don't get paid.
I guess I'm spending
um,
2 coins.
Mhm.
Oh Lord. You're paying the doctor really okay, no, you're paying the doctor and buying better supplies, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
It was a very expensive
I mean-
first aid kit.
At that point,
Yeah.
1 coin, do you roll again? Oh, wow, Jesus Christ. That's what you do.
Yeah, no, yeah. So you spent a coin to roll again, and you rolled a 1, which only gives you 1 tick. But if you want to roll again, what you could do is roll again, and then if you get any extra ticks, that'll overflow into healing your level 1 harm.
Yeah, that is how it works. So
Yeah. So you
You
can
may
just
as
roll
well,
another
I
d6. Yeah. So that's
There you
2
go.
ticks. So like you get 1 tick towards your next level 1 as well. Yeah, and I think like they bandage your hands up quite well. Definitely, you are at no risk of infection now, which is really good. And I do think that I'm not particularly interested in simulating infection, and B, I wouldn't even know how to do that. But infection is a big deal. But we just live in a world in which we are lucky enough that many of us don't have to think of it as a big deal.
Oh, I'm sure they've discovered penicillin in this world.
In Uduasha, no, there is a demon called penicillin,
Uh-huh.
and if
I
you
will-
sacrifice,
I will point out that without a sun, one of the few things people can grow is fungi and mold. So
Yeah.
probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah, fair. No, the demon called penicillin is in fact a demon of fungi and mold. So, fun
Of
fact.
course.
It's just a big like Dark Souls mushroom that punches disease out of your body.
Yes, that is what it is. Correct. Okay.
All right, on to the next thing.
Vickers or Abbas,
Yes,
who has
and Abbas, I think. If he is still
Excellent.
home, I feel like everyone else kind of left the temple, and Vickers
Yes.
did too. So how I want to
Mhm.
frame the scene is she is coming back after having spent quite a lot of time taking care of the injured. Because that was her priority
Yes.
after the score, getting them to a doctor, saving their lives,
Yes, that is true.
coordinating people.
Yeah.
So she has spent like quite a while doing that. And so she will come back to the temple, and I think that she will be wearing some clothes that she has borrowed from the doctor, because she,
Mhm.
her clothes got really bloodstained dealing with everyone. So she's coming
Yeah,
back dressed unusually Iruvianly, I think, with like a
Fair.
shawl and like some sort of sari probably, and having basically gotten a fresh change of clothes after the whole life-saving business was done. So she looks much more sane than usual, and also very tired. And she comes
Makes
back
sense.
to the temple, and how does she find Abbas?
I think Abbas is a little reflecting on the events that have happened. I think she finds Abbas maybe in his room. He's just got his head dunked in a bucket of cold water or something.
Yeah. She comes back in and she says, "Oh, Uncle, sorry, am I interrupting? I thought I should. Where is everybody anyway?"
And Abbas says,
Yeah. Yeah. Vickers looks for a second like, is this dangerous or is this some cultural thing I don't understand? And hesitates for long enough for his head to reemerge.
Oh, Vickers, sorry, I just, not on my mind,
Yes, I
Sorry.
thought we should probably drink some chai and try to calm down again. It's been a while, or it's been a lot rather than a while.
I think Abbas he considers this for a minute, and then he decides that actually, tea time with Vickers would be very pleasant. Yes.
So she will go down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good. And she will go down. She will prepare the tea, and then, like, in the middle of pouring it, I think, as if she'd thought of something. And I want to point out that this was a consequence of last session, that Abbas's secret kind of got out, right? She says, it's peculiar. One of the patients, one of the people involved in this gruesome altercation, I think they called you the Viper? And
Yeah.
Oh, did they? I'm not sure why they would call me that.
well, Pierre thought there was some sort of significance to it. There's apparently stories going around about someone of that name quite a long time ago, from what I understand it.
Okay, give me just a second to think out how Abbas gonna play this.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I think Abbas might feel sufficiently comfortable around Vickers to say something. I might say that Vickers, it's, I don't know, there are things that in my one does in their past life, and once I thought it was okay for me to walk away from that, and I tried to make my peace with what I had done, and I tried to move on, but now I'm thinking to myself that I don't know. I don't know if I made the right choice by walking away from all of that, or if I should have stayed the way that I was. And he's sort of simpling a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think it's fair to say that whether you walked away from it or not, that sort of thing has caught up with you. I believe the Chakraborty family has enemies. If not before, then we certainly do now.
Because when you and Miraz first got married, I have to confess, I had my reservations, but I see you now. You would do anything to protect my nephew, and I think I would also do anything to protect what's important to me. And I don't know. Do you find that sometimes that takes you too far?
Oh yes, she says, looking up, and she says, "Don't forget. Well, I know you rather would, but I come from an Akarosi noble family. We're not strangers to violence, precisely, and it is in fact quite common among the nobility to take things too far, I'm afraid."
It's only, I feel like, funny thing is, I feel like I should feel worse about what I did, but I don't, and that worries me a little.
Well, you're the spiritualist. I'm sure there are texts saying all manners of things about in what circumstances it is right or wrong to kill. It is not a perfectly straightforward subject when someone is threatening to cave one's nephew's head in, I imagine.
I suppose not.
Not to mention your brother. He was in all of that as well. Have you talked to him?
No, I've just been in here. But yeah, I suppose I should. I think the reason why Abbas hasn't spoken to Zijan is that there is not exactly shame or guilt, but I think he does feel a little awkward talking to his brother after like he basically kept the man's head in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose we all have some talking to do. I just wanted you to know that, well, I don't blame you. And I think I understand a little better who you are or who you used to be. And maybe I thought I was the only one who had a past to contend with, but I realize now that's very, very foolish of me. And I suppose in some sense Miraz is right. We do have to build a better future, even if that isn't built with Sparkcraft.
And Abbas, who is more than twice Vickers' age,
Yeah.
smiles when she says that. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm not the
of
only one
course.
with the smiles. Like, oh,
Well, you've never
no,
talked
dear.
about it. You've only been, you know, you don't
No,
talk
dear.
about your sordid past. So,
but he appreciates it. I think it's like, thank you, sister. Thank you for this. Should we find Zatijan maybe?
I think Vickers says like, well, you'd best go have a word with him. I'm going to wait for cousin Joan and Miraz to come back, and in the meantime, I shall do a little bit of redecorating because, well, if we have enemies, we may as well be sending the right sort of message, she says. And then she will go get her heavy-ass, scary polearm, and rather than being in a secluded place, now this will be mounted over one of our doors in our hall. Just like... Yep, I think that's the scene. I think...
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to have the scene with Zadjidan right away. I think Vickers is just going to wait for the others to come back. But...
Sure. I also need to clear some stress, so I've got 2 downtime actions. One of them,
yeah, I feel like clearing some stress by talking to Zadjidan could actually make sense.
it could, but I was also thinking that I think so. I've been, I think, maybe a bit laissez-faire with the rules of this game in that I didn't really have one stress purveyor, which, right? But I think de facto it's been Guppy and Paga who has been...
Yes.
Right?
So you're going to sermonize to them. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know if I'm going to be lecturing them as such or as much as... I guess it's not so much lecturing as in just going on or just rambling on and on and on until I feel better while they are hostages to my stress. Yeah.
Very good. Yes, absolutely.
I don't think we particularly need a scene for that because I think we can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
but
it would be a scene that takes 4 hours anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And so, in the interest of time, I'll just indulge Vice.
The thing that I am curious about is that Guppy also knows about your past.
Yeah, he not only that, he pinpointed me as someone who was involved in some sort of bombing, like a specific act.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So I do think there is some recognition even in him of the Viper having returned.
Yeah.
And less in a way of like, oh, I recognize this person from the stories, and more in a way of, oh, this is who he was talking about when he was talking about himself.
Yeah. Anything else needs to be done there, or?
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. And for my second, actually, you know what? Maybe someone else can have a scene. I'll think of what my second downtime action should be.
Yeah. We should just mention that you rolled a single die, and sorry, Prince, for cutting you off. Abbas rolled 1 die, and he cleared 4 out of his 8 stress. So.
Yes.
And I thought about it, and I think that this scene actually is a healing scene for Vickers because she has spiritual harm, and I think healing that by speaking to Abbas about this actually makes a ton of sense. Yeah, so I'm going to roll a die to get 1 healing tick towards healing my spiritual discombobulation, which is still with me.
Yeah, and I think that it is an important action. It's just that that spiritual harm just is very intransigent. So
yeah, yep. So Vickers will have this conversation, and then I think her next act will be to talk to Miraz or Joan. I don't know if you come back together or.
I actually did want to have that scene with Hardil. But actually, how about this? It's easier. I think
it's actually
Ardilane.
perfect. It's
Mhm.
actually perfect for me if Joan comes back first. So
Okay.
I don't mind that.
Sure. That works for you.
Sure. So I think yeah, let's do that scene next then. Joan returning to the temple,
Mm-hmm.
and the Vickers has redecorated, which basically means that she has hung up. Like we had these ceremonial weapons, right? Like there's the heavy halberd, which is a fine heavy weapon, but there's also like a blade or two and stuff that we have on our sheets. They are
Yeah.
now on display around the temple. Like not in a necessarily threatening manner, but she's just made a point of like, yep, we have weapons. They're ritual. They are symbolic. They're still weapons.
I do feel like this is the beginning of changing like the tenets of the temple, or like emphasizing a different part of it, because this is about you protecting the temple itself, right?
Yep.
So I think it's like important to like underline that.
Yeah. It's also about hospitality, right? We protect our guests. So
Absolutely.
it's not out of
So you're
place.
interpreting
It's
that.
not like we're going
No.
guests not welcome. It's people who fuck with our guests not welcome.
Not welcome.
But
100%. Yeah.
I think Vickers is busying herself with this when when Joan comes back, and I think she looks at Joan and says, "Oh, older sister, have you eaten?" Because I feel like everyone should ask Joan this today.
Indeed.
Some time ago I did. Yes.
Some time ago, yes. Well, it just so happens I have a little bit of leftovers, and I don't think this is things Vickers has actually cooked. I think this is things that we had with the tea. You know, like whatever. Snacks, biscuits, things, whatever. But he says, I actually meant to have a word with you. If you have the time, I don't know if you...
I'm here now.
Yeah, she pours some tea, and she slides it over, and she says, well, I don't suppose there's any point in mincing words. Is this the first time you've shot someone?
Someone flesh and blood, I do think.
Yes, I do suppose it's different out there on the rails. I suppose it would be hard to tell the difference eventually. Anyway.
It wasn't the shooting that was the worst about.
Vicky says, I suppose it wasn't. I just thought that you should know. I think you did what was necessary, although that hardly makes it any easier.
And you? Are you alright?
Well, I'm shocked, certainly. Worried about Miraz and the rest of the family. This is rather a brazen attack. I don't think anything like it has happened. It's one thing when we're out and about and some ruffians turn up. It's a whole other thing here at our home. I'm worried for our safety. I think it's quite natural to be.
Yeah, but the result is the same. We've shown them that.
I suppose so. Then again, my father has been in more than one duel. It's not uncommon back home.
I didn't know that.
Well, neither I nor he talk very much about it. It's not precisely a pleasant subject, but what I've noticed is that they very rarely solve anything. You've got vengeance and rivalries, and more vengeance, and more rivalries. It's the sort of thing that eventually bled our family dry. Well, of money, not of blood, evidently. But still, it can't be good for the Constitution to be caught in that sort of situation.
What do you propose we do about it?
Truth be told, I don't know. But I do know I don't want the same cycles of violence hanging over us. This is a place of cycles, of things ending and beginning anew. I would rather not it be spirals of violence and vengeance. So, well, we're both armed, and I know we both have reason to, but I do think we should be rather careful about it. This is not the Deathlands, after all.
Gratefully. But you're right.
Anyway, I just thought I should talk to you about it because, well, it can be a jarring thing. I know you're quite experienced. You've been out and about. You've been dealing with ghosts for most of your adult life. But that's no guarantee that you don't react poorly to all this. I'm glad you don't.
I think we'll be fine.
Well, I don't. But on the other hand, Nothing ever happens if you don't put in the effort. So, we shall be fine if we make it so.
Well said.
Now, how about those wounds? Have you had a doctor look at that? What about your hands? That looks awful unprofessional to me.
This
Oh,
did
no.
a really bad job.
Uh-huh.
I have some. Yeah. He wasn't great.
This is what happens when you recruit a man whose hands are full sweaty from the sauna and a couple
Yeah.
of juice.
Yes.
I have some supplies myself to do aftercare now.
Well, good. If you need anything else, you let me know, all right? I've got plenty of medicines left over, still. I had to use some of them on the patient. I'm happy to tell you everyone else survived.
Oh, that is
I shall have to go have a word with them in a little. But first, I needed to make sure you were all right.
quite a lot of words, I imagine, actually.
Well, probably. I just needed to make sure you're quite all right first, and that we agree. Yeah, I think the funny thing here is Vickers has no idea that there's anything supernatural going on. She is just worried because, I mean, you were in a life or death fight with someone.
Mhm.
And so she will now show you her usual care, which is by like fussing over you and recommending you what to eat and drink and just generally being concerned. Mm-hmm. I think that's is that the scene for me? No, you know what? I will spend one of my coin because I'm going to roll a healing roll for you. I'm fussing over you. I will get you some salves and stuff.
Ah,
I will work on your healing clock. Now, I've worked on mine. Now I shall work on yours by just rolling out here. Because it's all I can do. And I roll a 2. So, it turns
Almost
out that,
excellent.
it turns out that all of Vickers' weird salves and stuff don't actually help that much. Largely because they're not meant for cutting wounds. And also she doesn't know what half of them are. But,
shockingly, they don't close wounds.
no. But, you know, I think it makes sense in the fiction here for me to spend a coin on healing you because I'm giving you a bunch of medicines, so.
It's very sweet.
Mm-hmm. And yes, Vickers will continue to fuss about you and make sure that both Joan and Abbas are very well taken care of after this shocking incident.
Mhm.
And then I guess we will wait until Miraz comes home. But first he needs to talk to his lawyer. As you do.
He's the temple's lawyer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
And so blows out our brief candle. I named the disciples of the ceaseless temple thus, with both their given names and taken. Soumithri, called Tree. Zoheb, called Klow. Prince, Emma, and Aadiyat, called Soap. Intro music, Jalandhar by Kevin MacLeod. Outro music in Kiravani Ragam by Srinivas. Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions. Iruvian playbooks by Johnstone Metzger. Follow us at Desperate Attune on Twitter or email us at desperateattune@gmail.com. Support us at ko-fi.com/desperateattune.
On the next episode of Desperate Attune.
Sir, are you attempting to undercut your father-in-law's aero blimp technology by selling it to Munna?
Yes. Why not?
Great. Okay. Cool. No, just confirming that is.
Cool, dope, excellent. Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Why not?
absolutely. I mean, I have no. What could I even say? Okay.